Welcome back everyone, Scotty Combat here, and let's talk about a few Mortal Kombat titles that have the chance of becoming the next Mortal Kombat game. And just a couple things real quick, for those that don't know, the definitive version did drop for MK1. I know there's still people out there that think that we're going to get more content for MK1. Sure, we might get a patch, maybe some skins, but I would say as far as content and anything being sold as DLC is done by this point, which I have to say is very bittersweet. I love Mortal Kombat 1. I'm still going to continue to play it, but I also might tap into the other MK games as well while we wait for the next Mortal Kombat. But let's take a serious look into what could be the next MK game. Also, for those that think Injustice might be coming next, given the sales of MK1, I would say with how much better it still did versus the other Injustice games 1 and 2, and WB not being in the hottest shape right now, they already said they were going to focus on Mortal Kombat. So I'm not saying there's not going to be an Injustice game, but I really don't see that happening right now. If you're not familiar with these renders behind me, I'll go over them with you and how they almost made it, which also has me thinking there still might be a remaster for the arcade collection. The arcade era actually already does have an HD remaster, but that was released back in 2011, and it also wasn't a very transformative remaster. It's not like it ran on a new engine. It's actually a lot of fun, but it wasn't marketed as a remaster, rather it was just an MK HD arcade collection. It gives you the ability to play the original Mortal Kombat, MK2, and Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 online. Now, if you're a fan of the arcade era, this was hard to watch go down, and that is the remaster of the arcade collection that was fan-made and got the attention of Ed Boon. Now, this is where it started off at as the Mortal Kombat 1 remake, not the actual MK1 that we have now, but the actual very original Mortal Kombat 1 arcade game. It actually looks really good, and I want to show just a little bit of gameplay for those that haven't seen it yet. And I have to share how wild it is to think about this for a moment, that this game made it to WB, that Ed Boon saw this and he had his blessing on it. And the remake now currently isn't focusing on MK1, it's focusing on Mortal Kombat Trilogy. And just to give a quick comparison, this is the new render that is Sub-Zero, and a comparison against the original render, which is the digitized acting Liu Kang.
Sub-Zero wins.
Now again, I'm sure most of you can tell where it needs some work, but this is from years and years ago, and they're already in development of Trilogy. Now, if you're familiar with the arcade era, that is MK1, 2, 3, Ultimate MK3, and Trilogy, there's a fondness towards Trilogy because it really is the full roster. You can play as all the characters from MK1 to UMK3. However, there are a lot of arcade fans that have some drawbacks with Trilogy because the actual Trilogy does have a lot of bugs. Now, most of us casuals that loved it for what it was really don't care about those small bugs. There's some missing sound files, unnecessary load times, but this being a remaster, I would say this could clean that up, and the image as well. But personally speaking, I don't think a Trilogy would be the best name to market. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for it, and I would love to get this game, and I would definitely buy it. Because technically with MK1, 2, UMK3, we've had online access now since those games have came out, but Trilogy is that one game that never got that treatment. However, I don't think that means we'll get a remaster of MK Trilogy specifically because of that. And now it looks like they stayed faithful with this because the aggressor bar is available. But again, in the Trilogy, you can just turn that off in the options. Most people don't like the aggressor bar. Now, I want to be candid here for just a moment and think about the next Mortal Kombat game now that Mortal Kombat 1, in my opinion, really is wrapped up. Whether they do consider this HD remaster serious, I don't know. But I do think it's very likely that the arcade era could be released, whether that be in one game or a few. There seems to be talk on it that, yeah, the arcade era could be remastered next, but I think it's very possible we could also see another Shaolin Monks. And whether it be either of these, that is an arcade reboot or Shaolin Monks 2 or even just a Shaolin Monks remaster, I don't think this will be the next canon release from WB. I do think these are going to be spin-off games. And I do want to tie this back to MK1 and how to speculate further that Fate Unknown did call it accurately a while back that KP3 wasn't going to happen. And with that being months ago, I would say they already had to start planning which game to put out next, and I would say that's probably already in development. In fact, an earnings call leaked almost a year ago now that a new Mortal Kombat adventure game would release. I would say as a Mortal Kombat fan, when we think of action and Mortal Kombat, it's easy to think of Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks. What scares me is the possibility of that being another Mortal Kombat mobile game, especially when they took one off the store, and I'm hoping they're not trying to replace that with another one. I would say Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks is a pretty niche game. Now, if you're an invested Mortal Kombat fan, of course you're well aware of it. Sadly, Ed Boon has shared they tried to get this one off the floor again, and of course, WB shot it down. However, both of these projects, that is a fan-made project, that is the remaster of the arcade era, and another Shaolin Monks, were both scrapped as ideas years ago. Although MK1's perception became better later along the road, it had a bad start, and then apparently Chaos Reigns didn't do too well, so I would say going back to the drawing board, if they look back at what does best, and maybe listen to the Mortal Kombat fans, I would say it would be a good idea to reboot the arcade era. That is, you can make it in one game, unless you were actually planning on remaking it, similar to how MK9 did, which in that case, why not just remake MK9? Because essentially MK1 was a reboot of the 3D era. As someone that loves the 3D era, and I'm sure most of you feel this way too, it doesn't truly feel like a reboot of the 3D era. Thankfully, it wasn't fully marketed as that, but it was definitely a love letter to the 3D era fans. Now, this isn't the focus of this video, but I think it's very well worth putting out there. Let's say WB doesn't entertain the idea of a Mortal Kombat side project, or they're not working on one right now. I still think if neither one of these are going to happen, that it's very possible, even if they do happen, that is these side projects, that Mortal Kombat 13 can be next. Or however they're going to name Mortal Kombat 13, whether that be MK2, or they could call it MK112, as in MK1 Part 2. I hope they don't do that. I do think it would be a good move either way. Mortal Kombat was able to recruit a huge fan base thanks to the Injustice games as well. I mean, the birth of that being from MK versus DC, it started pulling in a new audience. The reason I bring that up is because there's some people that are saying give Mortal Kombat a break. And I'm not just being biased against that, because I am. I'm always going to prefer Mortal Kombat. Thankfully, it sells well, and we know how greedy WB is. They're going to push Mortal Kombat. They've already said it's on the focus. So it is exciting in that aspect. I know a lot of people are sad that MK1's wrapping up, but we do have to look forward to possible spin-offs like an arcade remaster. I think it's very possible we can also see a Shaolin Monks 2 or a remaster of the original Shaolin Monks, and then bringing about Onaga in the next Mortal Kombat, possibly Shao Kahn first and then Onaga. He's already in the lore of MK1. You can already step him up and then jump into the new game while entertaining to the new fans from MK1 and then staying a little more faithful to what the original fans want to see as well. So wrapping this together, I think there's three directions they can take this. That is arcade remaster, Shaolin Monks, whether that's a remaster or part 2, and then those would be like the spin-off games, and then the next Mortal Kombat game, which will be our canon installment. Of course, they could always remaster MK9 as well. I think that's a safe bet, but for whatever reason, it seems like they like to keep MK9 towards the back burner and not speak of it too much. Maybe there's a reason for surprise for that. I don't know. It's such a tease to think that the original demo of this game got Ed Boon's attention and he brought them into the studio, he entertained it, he liked it, but WB, thinking about the numbers, was like, we don't think it'll do well. Then again, this was years and years ago, and it's came a long way since. I think it's very possible WB may have looked at it and decided to go their own avenue with it. We'll have to see. As you know, with this channel, it's a lot of MK1 content. I do still have some videos in mind I would like to do. However, I'm really excited to do different Mortal Kombat videos on this channel now. Of course, I'll keep you guys updated. Subscribe, like, and comment below to show your support. If you enjoy playing MK1 live and you have cross-platform, you can also play me live here on my channel or on Twitch. I thank you all for watching, and I will see you live and or in the next video. Much love, everyone, and take care.